years ago, 3 days before he ended his life in the body that I knew him in. He woke up at 3 a.m. and said, "Baby doll, there is no death. Have I ever lied to you?" And I made a promise to continue on this leap of faith of, if we are vibrational beings, if I can hold the heart vibration of 528 hertz, if I can keep that, it's like the bunny ears on a TV that has to be perfect. So if your vibration's off, I lose connection with him. And so I handed the keys to my 5 senseless operating system to my heart, and I said, "You deal with it." And that's when my magic carpet ride started, and I had a message from him. "You'll find me in the Joshua tree." So the next day when I got an email alert for a Bhakti Fest, without even thinking, I thought, okay, Joshua tree, here I come, glamping. And you'll find me at the Joshua tree. And so what do I find at the Joshua tree? Dr. Sarah, 4,000 people chanting, doing yoga all day. And our paths crossed, and in a way that, well, of course, I mean, it made sense. And what she shared with me, only 2 or 3 people knew. And it was so profound that I knew there was no going back. A lot of people thought, you're not living in reality anymore. You're living for Randy. I said, no, I'm not living for him. I'm just still living with him. Why should I not talk to him as much during the day? Why should the first thing out of my mouth not be "Good morning, sweets, I love you"? And at night before I go to bed, night, sweets, the same conversations, because there is no death. And even though you can't physically see someone in the same form, doesn't mean they're not there. And we have, I think Dr. Sarah mentioned, 361 untapped senses, according to the Egyptian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, endless possibilities to how to keep that vibration alive. I mean, I don't date. My love and my romance and everything with him escalates daily. And, did I grieve? Do I grieve? Yes, but I did sort of what I call the 80-20 diet, where I would literally say, okay, the human self needs to go through this process, and I would put the timer on the oven for 20 minutes. And then as soon as it went ping, the crying had to stop. And I had to refuel with chanting, with mantras, to get the vibration back. And then I realized, oh, okay, well, sometimes he goes on location. I can't have access to him 24/7, just like when he was physically in the way we recognize beings in the house. So I'm not sure what he's up to, but I know that my love affair is far from over.
There.
Sorry?
I love that there is a little ping in this conversation. Right? When we were talking, there was the little ping, because this is really important. He has to let you have autonomy time with Source, with God. There's the ping, right?
Yeah.
The ping again, just to confirm that this conversation is, he's got to let you, he's not going away from you.
Right.
You have to go into your central self.
Yes, I have work to do still.
Right, you have work to do. So
yes.
You are not going into an autonomous phase without your beloved. You are not doing your work.
Yeah.
So he doesn't go away. This is so, it's subtle energy and really important. He's there, but he and you require self-maintenance.
Yes.
For you. So he has to not be as thinly available for you.
Exactly.
Yes. It's so.
And when I don't think about him, when I'm actually in a state of bliss caused by a combination of popping the skins off of my sprouted almonds as I'm listening to my 432 hertz station and chanting along, that's when I get the messages. When I focus on him, nothing happens. It's no different than anything else in life. If you focus too much on something, it doesn't happen, because you're focusing, what is that wonderful expression? You're focusing so much on the finger that you miss, look, there, it's everyone's staring at the finger,
It's so beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that. Is it okay to share this out with the large group?
Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. And I want to bring in, last night we had at our home, the night before we had His Holiness, which mentioned a blessing. He's the head of a Sufi order, come to our home. He's followed by, so it's like the Dalai Lama in the Sufi order. Sufi is the mystical branch that was birthed at the same time that Jesus was walking the earth. So many masters were walking the earth and had access to and left behind poetry, left behind teachings, left behind pathways that we could follow. And Christ consciousness, which covers every corner of the earth, has had or understands that to some degree. I want to say that another way. There is a consciousness that we collectively have labeled that isn't necessarily associated with one physical being. It only got to continue because those that had the eyes to see him risked everything to say, hey, this is happening for me.
Yeah.
This still goes on. And because they were willing to write it down, to etch it out, to talk about it, to share about it, religions were formed. So instead of being legioned to yourself, to knowing your core, which each person that in that time frame, when this consciousness came to the planet, they were advocating, anything I can do, you can do. All of the prayers were in this is my body, in this is my blood. I never go away. You set the intention for me to be in this, voila, the thoughts and the consciousness come to you. And then you go further into this wisdom, into this knowing. And thousands upon thousands of people are now having these extraordinary, this incredible ability to stay connected with the unseen world, and are becoming brave enough to talk about it and share about it. They are holding their vessel, their body sacred. And how do they hold it? How do you hold your body to where you know yourself?
Yeah.
Right? If you look at your wrist, see your bluish veins, right? Blood flowing through them contains hemoglobin. These hemoglobins, these 4 proteins, it's so funny because we learned about this in medical school, and in organic chemistry, we learned about, all the components that make up iron. Iron is pure element. Fe, that's the Fe. It's so funny when we go back and we read the codes and you get iron is only naturally produced in one place. It can only be forged in the core of a dying star.
Wow.
Every time you look at your vein, remember that you're built from and kept alive by pieces of stardust, right? Now, this is so important to fully understand. Today's science talks about and says when 2 things meet, each one of them is forever changed by that meeting. There is a chemical reaction that occurred. Every time you take a breath in, all of the nourishment that keeps you going, connected to these carrier hemoglobin. That stardust, that star, that dying star, still exists, is still alive, is still breathing. You are made of star stuff. And this is who you are. You are the way for the cosmos to know itself. You're made mostly, right? So much oxygen coming in. 65% carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium. All of these, plus more. Sodium, chloride, magnesium, all of them, boron, every part forged, created in the cosmos. And this is Carl Jung who said, if you want to make apple pie from scratch, you must first create the universe. Which is incredible to fully realize and bring in. Science is a way of thinking much more than it is a body of language. So our beloved, this beloved energy, trying to make sure that I can get back to this beloved energy that you are. Why do I call you beloved energy? If you were not beloved, your breath would not continue, your heartbeat would not continue, life would not continue. Something inside yourself loves you enough, is in the current moment to make sure you don't get into accidents, is present with you to carry. So again, Carl Sagan, imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. I want to say that another way. Your imagination, and the word imagination has I, magi, nation in it. I, you yourself, magi, magician, the mystical force, and nation, when two of like mind or three of like mind get together. And as we started this talk, we started with there are as many 50 trillion cells. Each one of those cells has an awareness, 144 communicating parts to your brain, 3 basic systems in your brain. These basic systems require you to tune yourself. And what do they tune you to? How well you know yourself. And what is it that's the most important thing for you to know about yourself? 1, what you love. What do you love? What brings you forward, leans you into the next moment? The nitrogen is in your DNA, the calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, the carbon everywhere, all of it made in the interiors of collapsing stars. So important. It's far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in the delusion, however satisfying and reassuring. And what's the delusion that we are part of? Many people are stuck in the delusion that everything's not okay. That what's occurred or what's occurring or what will occur is not okay. And so it's this energy, this frequency that we continue to create not okay. And it doesn't mean we don't take right action. It doesn't mean that we don't step up and do the big shift work. It means that we connect to the cosmos, especially when the cosmos are calling us. The cosmos are calling you. They're calling you to fully be present in the moment. They're calling you to know and be aware of what brings you joy. The cosmos want for you to reflect on yourself. So much so, they will bring the same patterns around over and over again until you stop and you give to yourself the attention, the awareness, the cohesiveness. And none of it is anyone's fault. Everything is energy. The more you know yourself and the more of the 365 senses you allow yourself to experience, you are to be a new sense every day. And those senses, right? Being able to read the cosmos in your body, those applications that occur on your cell phone, those extraordinary science that you are. Let me say that another way. If you make yourself a scientific experiment, and I love Facebook, right? Facebook shows us what we were doing last year, the year before. It's now bringing up these old, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so incredible. I'm in that same place, but I'm further out. I'm having the same day by day. It's showing the cyclical vortex nature of your frequency, my frequency. So huge. You are the science experiment the cosmos are doing. Those that have gone into, so CK's story, right? Kimmy's story of knowing to go to Bhakti Fest. We'd never met. There was no interaction between us. There was nothing for her or me to communicate in the seen world. If people outside of us were watching the conversation with the regular lens, they would say these people are crazy. What are they talking about? I'm going to unmute you again just for a second. What are they talking about? What's all of this unseen world, staying in touch, doing the work, the ashes?
What the ashes, yes. So
right.
One of the last things that my husband said to me was, sweetness, always be honest, be loving, come from a place of truth, stay out of drama, stay on your spiritual path. You know, you're my little warrior. And so within days of his leaving, suddenly people from his past wanted ashes. And I called the last shaman he worked with, and he says, no, keep his ashes intact. So of course I lie. I call my mother, she gets ashes. So all these people are getting somebody else's ash. So I'm not being honest with my word or doing any of these things. So imagine when Dr. Sarah comes up to me at the Bhakti Fest and says, I have a message from your husband. In the first part's a little awkward. It's about his ashes. And I said, is he mad? And then Dr. Sarah said, no, that you kept your ashes to be put with hers, which is what the shaman gave me permission to do. So I have Randy's ashes to be put with mine. So as you see, it's not like everyday conversation, like, oh, Randy's really happy and sends you love. No, he's happy, it's about the ashes. So something that comes up, and he wasn't mad. He was glad. He was touched. So
it's so important because CK had the knowing. You had the knowing. And if you got to the set point, everything is okay. And at that moment, you were learning to pilot a plane, right? You and Randy were both in physical form, navigating the world together. Yeah. And so him being in the invisible form, not in the physical form, you had to learn how to navigate. Yeah. Without the physicalness of that. Yeah. And it's so beautiful because to really fully understand spirit, love, all of it is constantly communicating with you, with us. Mm-hmm. And why? Because we all started from the same origin. The same motion, rotation, frequency. I love that. I love that it binged right there again, right?
It never bings. And I tried to stop the binging and it won't stop. The thingamajigger just won't.
So I love the bing. I love that it is really with us, sharing and amplifying. This is probably the most important energy right now, is for you to really lean into and allow the universe, all those that transition, everything that is to be yet, to work with you. Yeah. And this is for CK and for every miracle maker, right? Mm-hmm. To really, really over and over again say, everything's okay. I'm okay. They're okay. Oh yeah, that happened. And I've got the energy, the spiritual energy, the mental energy, the emotional energy, and the physical energy for something greater to work through me. To allow what is to be to happen. And it's so beautiful that this is the Course in Miracles. This is when you look at yourself through the electrical field. Who you really are is what exists when you close your eyes. What is real is the part that exists when you close your eyes. And so you can feel your body, right? You can feel your legs, you can feel your face, you can feel all of that. So, but the feeling part is there's someone feeling it. There's a pressure there. There's a resistance there. You have 360 senses all around you. And if you begin to get present, you begin to really go, wow, all right, so I am gonna allow my blood to communicate with me. And you sit, and if you want to write it down in a book, right, you go S for Sarah or D for Dr. Sarah, right? You write a letter for you, the front part of your brain. then you write for whichever component you want to communicate with. You can do this for people that have transitioned. So I have a brother that passed away and at a very young age based on addiction. He was missing for 2 years. Recently in the move, I found all the aspects of a wedding ring that he had bought for a young lady that he was in love with. And literally, like Randy, my brother Omar is with me all the time. Anytime I need him, there's a sign that says Omar out in the physical world. Like when I say need, there's like a moment of me not in my confident self. And then all of a sudden a sign will appear, right? A license plate, something that was in his car. Well, this move, we did some pretty big manifesting to be able to move. 3 gatherings within 7 days of moving to being in a couple different cities, talks, meetings, the community coming together, big miracles. Every time I needed, well, his ring showed up and I asked him, what can I do for you? And he shared with me, it's not for me that you would be doing something. I'm fine. It would be connected to everyone else that still exists. Getting into the possibility that everything is okay. And you simply have to breathe. And it's really important to not fake it. I'm putting this in quotes, right? Don't fake it. If you're not okay with the situation, you have to go find someone to connect with, to talk about it. This is the part of your body, your brain, your system that allows you to be able to fully overcome something greater than you gets created every time you authentically share yourself. I'm going to say this another way. 1/3 of all hospital results in the positive direction come from placebo. 1/3 of the wellness in the world simply comes in the United States from showing up at the hospital. That's a partnership. That's a belief. That's a knowing. You had to take some action for your body to do what it can already do. The simple act of connecting, talking with someone, running it through. Napoleon Hill masterminds. We have another group that's coming in, another opportunity. If you ever want any of these, just ask me about them, right? And I will send you links and tell you all about them. We're starting a mastermind, a very specific mastermind in the style of Napoleon Hill. In that mastermind, you will be able to really generate the results that you're going after. My husband generated his reality TV show. I didn't need a mastermind. It's so funny. I just wished for a house, and 2 months later, luckily the desire and the alignment and the connection and everything lined up, and because the stillness came in, and I have wanted a house since I knew houses existed. Since I was in grade school, I used to always draw houses. And I forgot until about 2 months ago that was something I always wanted to give myself. So I sat with, and I emptied, and I emptied, and I emptied, and I let go, and I let go. And all of it came to me. Literally, I'm so grateful the real estate agent saved the house. She's incredible. She's in Los Angeles. Her name's Myra. And I'm so happy to share her contact info. But literally, I went off on journeys, places. She saved the house for me in Los Angeles. The houses that my kids and my husband wanted. It's so funny, sold. They sold like that. And the moment we signed on the paper, we already had equity in the house. We already made money on the house. Miracle after miracle after miracle. Imagination. I, the you that lives inside your heart that wants. When you get so clear on what you want, it's extraordinary how it shows up for you. When you get really clear on who you are, Magi, you are what you imagine. The more concrete you put that, the more the star system, the universe within you knows what to do. Nation, you get with a group of people, or at least one. And so there you go, imagination. And so whatever it might be that you're going for, right? We're going to do a 10-week mastermind coming up. You just have to say, hey, I'm interested. Send me a text or email me. I'll send you details. We are also going to Sedona. This is an opportunity that I hope all of you will be able to step into. September 29th is my birthday. If you're a miracle maker and you're with us, come meet us in Sedona. September 29th happens to be the feast day of archangels. We're doing a birthday party for all September babies on my birthday, on the feast day of archangels. And we're going to be in a conference that transcends the matrix at the place that Dr. David Hawkins did his work, his Creative Life Center, right? Vortex within a vortex within a vortex. Archangel Feast Day. We will have activated our hearts, our sacred hearts, in the traditions that the Essenes, the Rumis, that is written in the walls. If that calls to you, just email me again and say, I want to be part of the Sedona birthday party. You're a miracle maker. Coming to Sedona. If you want to be in the conference, or if you want to do retreat, we're going to have space for 12 of us to do retreat in Sedona. I love that we can create this and we can do this. Magi Nation. The reason Miracle Makers exists is to give you all of the tools to fully realize the miracle frequency you are. You have a wobble. I have a wobble. Wobble, wobble. That wobble can only be healed in community. It can only be healed in creating the ability to see and know yourself. That wobble right now and tomorrow, as long as you acknowledge it joyfully and let go any part of the wobble that you're aware of, that you're judging, the wobble shifts and becomes cohesive based on the group. Let me say that another way. By being part of a group and setting the intention to be made whole, whatever is missing within you Whatever lack of knowing or awareness is missing within you will become available as a memory popping up. And you simply will examine that memory and remember that it happened for you. It happened to bring forward the best energy that you could move into the world forward. Let me say that another way. If you could see the event that occurred from the perspective of the universe or God or love, you would see that it made you stronger, made you more loving, made you more forgiving, made you more of the qualities of the universe that allow for correcting the nature of what came before us. So the cosmos, the lion gate, the Sirius star alignment, all of the sacred temples and vortex energy, which you are the sacred vortex energy. Your body, conditioned, can cause such peace and joy miles and miles around you. Embody that light. Nelson Mandela from prison, Oprah Winfrey from wherever she is. You simply say her name, Oprah, and all of us are like, oh yeah. Chaos on the other end as well. You can list names that elicit chaos. Hitler, Nazi. That energy, right? How much has that been corrected? How much has that vortex frequency energy come back up for a healing? It's so beautiful what's happening. Everything's okay. It makes you speak up, stand up, and be so powerful. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. We're completing the first portion of this, and then we'll go into readings. Again, if you want to know about the mastermind, the 10-week mastermind that's coming up, you simply have to reach out. If you want to know about the Sedona event, and you can buy tickets and be in a home in Sedona and participate fully. It's called Transcending the Matrix. Tickets are on sale. If you use the code Dr. Sarah, you get, I believe it's 25% off tickets for Transcending the Matrix, September 28th and 29th in Sedona. I think it's 25% off the marked tickets. And there's a birthday party. We're going to do during that birthday party all of the feast of the archangels and all of the formulas that will allow you to have access to more of your 365 senses. Tomorrow we are back on at noon. Thursday at noon. I'm so excited to see you. I love you. We're still going to jump into the next conversation. So I'm going to stop the recording here.